GDP is tomorrow, and we have a lot of things to talk about. Now, if we go over the Nasdaq and exactly where we're at, then you can see we're trending in this key zone we've been mentioning for the past 1-2 days, give or take. Now, I've also told you during this range, it's almost a no trade zone. So what does that mean? Basically, unless you break out of the zone to the up or to the downside, there's no reason to really be trading equities, specifically with a higher risk, such as Tesla, Nvidia, these tech stocks, or FANG, if you will. Now, going into GDP, I also gave my overall opinion on how I expected us to start bouncing around this time. Now, I also want to address what I talked about on Sunday. So on Sunday, I anticipated you'd come down to 13,000 to 12.9 roughly. But I'm going to say right now, I was wrong in the sense of how quick this would happen. So you can see Sunday night, this comes out, and you basically get down here by the end of Monday. You come right down to your key level, and you've sat here basically Tuesday through Wednesday. And this reflects my trading. So if we come over to Discord and we look here really quick, I've taken a lot less trades this week, just really minimal, and it's really been around commodities specifically if I'm taking anything. Before we go any further, I do have to ask you to consider doing two things: liking and subscribing, because I have a lot to cover here, but I'm covering this every single day around the market, the news as I see it, and how I see the best trades possible based on fundamentals and technicals, so you are up to date every single day. It does help out the channel a lot when you comment as well. Let's get back to it. So going on here, I'm going to tell you right now into GDP what I expect to happen. Now, this may be a little bit far-fetched, or you may not understand this. So if you have questions, please comment down below. But this is your GDP overall estimates over the past 6 months, right? So previously they projected a 0.5, which is ludicrous. They think you're going to go from negative 1.6 to positive 0.5. That's crazy. But it was still a really nice beat. You came out at a negative 0.9, which you basically reduced that negative GDP growth about halfway there. That's beautiful. It's awesome. So all you can really ask for. And now they're projecting a negative 0.8, which would be good again. I want to highlight what's happening here. And if you haven't been here on the channel, then this is going to be new to you. But I'm going to show you oil on a 1-day chart. This is very critical if you have not been here. This is the oil chart. And you may see this and say, okay, yeah, oil is coming down. But if you come in here and you add the SPY chart to this, again, this is going to be bread and butter. I like to simplify these things so it really becomes relatable for you. So you can start, putting these pieces together for yourself, right? And so let me zoom out just a little bit so you can see a little bit more. We're going to go right here. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the same exact trend is actually happening with the SPY, believe it or not. Straight, you're making your ascending wedge. Right here, you have a descending wedge on your oil right here. SPY is an ascending wedge. What does that mean? So you found your bottom on quote unquote indexes, SPY, the Nasdaq, every one of your favorite tech stocks. You found your bottom when oil peaked. And I want to tell you what happened in this time period right here and why this is so important. Going into midterms, which is in September, basically through November, the biggest, most pivotal moments, you have midterms coming up for the Democrats, and basically Democratic approval ratings are at all-time lows. So they've been using our basically storage of gas, our sweet crude, if you will. You can go Google it, find out what that means for yourself. But it's our storage. Every country has this, right? And so we're depleting our storage of gas, and we're dumping it into the market to lower gas prices, and that's why crude oil was dropping, okay? Now, you're coming to the point where crude said enough is enough. And if you come back here, what is this level right here? I want to highlight really quick. This key level, what is it? It is your 2021 highs where you're bouncing. I made a video about 3 days ago, and I told everyone oil is most likely going to be the play going into winter months. And guess what? Oil across the board, Exxon going crazy, Oxy going insane, USO follows the barrel to a T. This is the one I traded, going crazy. Actually, if we look at USO, what happened on the day? We bought these contracts at $2 and then doubled down around $1.25. The contracts today hit $3.25 and they're now in the money. Going crazy. Now I started buying some natural gas. I'll get into that here in a second as well. And then I bought some riskier positions as well in oil. I'll talk about that as well here later in the video. But what is it saying? Near the end of the year, I do project Europe's inflation issues, their energy crisis will hit America. Do not think America is fine. We will get hit from it. It will be a problem. What you need to know though, if we come back to this chart, we also know what happens with oil. Oil prices will not directly affect you, the viewer, or you, the citizen of America. You won't see it at the gas pumps for weeks. So hypothetically, let's say that gas prices are at highs, roughly at 123, then you're not going to really be affected by that price for around 2 weeks, right? Because you're going to start respecting the price that was right here. Why does that happen? What does that mean? Think about it if you're a gas station, right? So if you get gasoline at that high price, you have to sell it at X amount because guess what? That's what you bought it at, right? You're not going to just take a loss on it, right? And so as gas prices drop, every like 2 weeks, you'll see gas prices start to change. That's why you don't wake up every morning and see gas prices, different prices based on the barrel. It's what are you buying that gasoline at? Okay, so going in here, if we look for the past 3 weeks, you still were decreasing in oil prices, okay? You've been decreasing. You just found your bottom like last week. So in my opinion, if we're looking at inflation and we're looking at GDP, I have to anticipate you're probably going to either come out very close to what you were, or you might even be positive. So going into this, I had no desire to short. And I told everyone, if you start breaking down below 12.8 on Nasdaq, I would be dumping money into calls because it'd just be too dramatic and too quick. Now, I want to address this. If tomorrow you come out and GDP isn't good and you break below 12.8, in my opinion, you're going to new lows. If you break below 12.8 tomorrow and GDP comes out poor, mark this down, write it verbatim. I don't care what you have to do or say. If you come out tomorrow and you break below 12.8, retest and start pushing down, you will find new lows on the Nasdaq before you make a new local high, in my opinion. That's my opinion. However, I don't see that likely to happen. What I think will happen is GDP will come out better than their terrible outlooks that they're giving, and you'll start to see an upward push, an incline. Breaking above 13,000, I think you start to push up. Now, the question here is do you break above 13.7? And that's hard to say. You have Jackson Hole on Friday, which is going to be Powell talking about the Fed and the overall state of our economy. Very big. I couldn't imagine he's going to be too negative on the market. Just saying. And if GDP does well, that's going to give him even more fuel to dump on the fire and say, look, we're coming back. Inflation's peaked. This, that. What the Fed is all trying to tell you right now. That's my opinion on GDP and futures. Very clear. That's what I see happening. Okay. Right. If you stay in this range right here, the same range, 13,000 to 12.8, this is a no trade zone. Why? Because look at what's happened on the past 2 days, what I've been saying. I've been saying if you break out of this, then you trade it. But if you're in this range, no trades. Look at some of your favorite stocks in FANG. Apple. You're seeing downside movement, but it's just choppy back and forth. You'd be getting stopped out of whatever trade you're sitting in. Tesla. Tesla was a good one, but they're having a stock split tomorrow. Really big news coming out from them. I'll cover them a little bit later as well, but choppy as well, up and down, up and down. No clear breaking out. Amazon, choppy, back and forth, back and forth. So I'm just showing you what's happening. That's my viewpoint. That's what I'm looking at. Be on the lookout for that. A break above 3,000, you're looking for upside. Break below 12.8, you're looking for downside. Clear as day. Nothing else to really say there. Going into SPY, what am I looking at here? It's essentially the same, but you're getting some more key breakouts. SPY, I'm shocked you haven't had a break or a test of at least 408 to 407. If SPY breaks 407, it's done. That's the key level to watch for 407. You break 407, I'm probably grabbing some leaps, maybe a few weeks out, not even leaps really, but some swings on SPY for the downside push to break lows because 407 is a key level. You get back above 417, you're cooking. That's very strong level from there. But Nasdaq is going to be the thing to watch in my opinion because you're at those key levels already. So very clear. I want to take the next part of this video to go into some of my oil plays and things I've been looking at and trading there. One, USO. If USO can get any type of dip, I am looking to add more. I'm looking at least at 75. That's the minimum dip of where I'm looking to buy at. I don't want to buy above that. I don't want to be too aggressive there. I've already made a lot of money here. So I'm definitely looking to be a little bit more conservative with adding more contracts. If you come back down to 71.8, back into our range down here, it's a clear, easy money buy. And then if you break below the 71 region, I would probably cut and then start reevaluating oil in general. Next up, looking at Exxon and Oxy. Exxon, I think you're going to hit $100. You're dangerously close back to those all-time highs when you come back to, or not all-time highs, but local highs back up here at 105. I think you at least fill the gap back to 100. Have to be interested here. Oxy, you have Warren Buffett. Everyone knows this. We've been talking about this one. You've been updated here on the channel. As you come down in this range, I was telling everyone it's a buying opportunity. Oxy, Buffett has permission to buy up to 50% of the company, basically ownership stake in the company. I mean, nothing else to say there. Extremely bullish. You love to see it. My favorite right now is going to be UNG. I'm going to show you really quick. We've been talking about this all throughout Discord. Shout out to Cajun. He's been the man, the myth, the legend here. Clear cup and handle, boys. Clear cup. You have your cup. Now you're establishing your handle and you're popping right back through. In my opinion, the target has to be 38, but you can honestly easily go higher than that. So I'm targeting 38 here, but I love what's happening. I love that you're retesting previous highs here. If you get below 31.2, I'd be concerned. But until then, I'm adding, and the options hold their value extremely well. I have at least a month on these contracts. That's what I'm watching out for there. And you need to understand the primary source of the energy crisis in Europe right now is what? It's natural gas. If you were following me back in January and February, that's what I was telling you. Go watch those videos. I told everyone, back up $14, $15. Natural gas was the play. You're sitting at almost $30 right now. Congratulations if you played it. Next up, I want to offer a riskier play. This is a straight up risky play, and it's only a stock play. You can't trade options. INDU, Indonesian Energy. Definitely, again, risky play. But we remember what happened back in February and March. You went from $4 all the way to 87, and similar things are happening now. iBorrow Desk, today you reached a high of 200%, 202%. A borrow fee if you wanted to short the stock. It was crazy. Guess what? Short started adding right back in. The fee dropped to 150. I still love it. Still, I'm just in love with this play. I think it could easily go up. The risk is low because for me, I'm trading stock here and I have it pretty low. I mean, worst case scenario, my stops are around like $8, so that's what I'm looking at here. But I do love this company as a whole, and I love what's happening here specifically with oil and the opportunity here. I bought about 250 shares of this today, so I want that to be up in the air and very clear as well. Tesla, you have your split coming out tomorrow, 3-1. You'll open up around $300. Really interesting here. I'm not interested in trading this until we get some clear direction and we see what happens. The last split you did tank. Very important to know. I'm going to go into some fundamental viewpoints right now and show you why I believe there's strength going on in the market right now. If you look at J&K, past 4 or 5 days, gap down, gap down, gap down, gap down, gap down, gaps down. Today, what happens? Your first sign of life. Upside, after hours, pushing up. This is what you want to see, people. You're seeing signs of life, recovery. This is where you're getting opportunity. Now, am I saying you're going to go to the moon? Am I saying J&K is going to break highs and the Nasdaq and SPY are going to go crazy? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the opportunity for a bounce is definitely here based on the key levels in which we're at. DXY. DXY, possible double top. I don't want to say a double top, but it's possible. You're finding resistance there. You may get a little bit of slowdown here, get a little bit of a bull flag going on, a channel for the next few days, maybe a week for more upside on DXY, which could slow down, which shows more of a risk on approach to the market. Again, I want to highlight that. Going into yields, US10 versus US30. This is one of the only areas of concern in my opinion, but it's worth mentioning. We've seen yields rise as you have bounced on the market. Yields typically are a lagging indicator. So if we go back to the 10-year versus 30, this basically is a major inflation chart to show you when inflation is getting out of control. But basically, you've been following this trend since essentially 2020 to the upside. And if you look right now, you're pushing back up. You go back here into March, you were getting a little bit of a love bounce here. If you go back to SPY Qs, you were getting a bounce here. You were. And just go look, you can go see. I don't care what you say. You got some love here. And then you started to see a dip on the market. Yields are a lagging indicator. Just know that. They're one of the few lagging indicators. I love it. So I do see downside coming over a broad span of the market. But short term, I definitely think you could see a bounce. So this is my opinion. This is what I'm viewing on the market, how I'm trading it. I don't want to overcomplicate this for you. But again, really quick rundown of what I see happening, what I'm looking out for tomorrow. SPY, we'll go over this first. As we look here, again, really, really quick. In my opinion, you break above 417, you're bullish. You break below 48, you're bearish. However, I'm more concerned with NQ because you'll get an answer far quicker. You'll get, if you get above 13,000, you're bullish. You get below 12.8, you're bearish. Simple as that. And if you look at what happened on the day with Bookmap, you can also see indecisive. But at the end of the day, what happened? Buyers were everywhere. They were buying everything they could see in sight on ES futures, which is the S&P. Thousands of lots were getting bought, extremely bullish going into tomorrow. Just off the bat, they're betting on a bullish GDP. At Cheddar Flow, when we come in here, look at the SPY. This is one of the better days you've had. Your put to call ratio is a 1.2. You've been here for this whole week. This has definitely been closer to 2, almost even 3 most days. Going into QQQ, a 0.8. One of the more bullish days here as well. I'm just saying it's looking like you have some upside going into tomorrow. We go into VIX as well. Look what's happened. You came back to that resistance, 24. It was that key level there you're bouncing at. Every time in the past, you gapped up. I just believe there's room for a bounce right now. Short-term, upside. Long-term, clear downside. That's my viewpoint on the market. Hope you make money. Do your own DD. It's not financial advice. I'll see you tomorrow.